He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Good morning and welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, we've got a terrific show today. We're going to get an update from Bill Lavers, who is the Executive Director of the Harrison County Development Commission. He's a good friend of the show, involved in so many different projects. They've made some good announcements recently. We're going to get an update from Bill. But before we do that, let's bring Kyle into the conversation for a second. Kyle, here we are. It's Tuesday morning, and man, I'm still feeling a little bit of, reeling from the Saints' loss, aren't you?
Yeah, I kind of was not expecting that. I really thought they were going to come out. They did come out strong. They looked like a lot better than they did towards the end of that Raiders game. But, what do you say? Is it predictability? Is it sloppiness? Do they really miss Mike Thomas? I think all of the above can be said at one point or another.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Jeff Duncan this week. Jeff Duncan, who works for The Athletic. He's been covering the Saints longer than anyone else on earth. He's a really, really smart guy. And of course, he wrote a column yesterday about how uninspiring they were, how sloppy they were. They're making too many mistakes. The key fumble at that moment in the game when the score was tied, and then the penalties. Man, Kyle, the penalties are killing us.
83 yards worth of penalties, and all at the wrong time. I mean, there's never a good time for a penalty, but the pass interference penalties have got to stop. That just drives everyone crazy. And it really, that turns out to be the result of the game. All of the pass interferences resulted in big plays for the Packers.
Well, we're going to be talking with Jeff Duncan every single Friday. So we look forward to having a conversation with Jeff on this Friday. And hopefully it will be the last one we have to talk about a losing game. Maybe, maybe they'll find themselves. I still think they're trying to figure out how to handle things with Michael Thomas out of there. And man, I pray that Drew Brees can throw a pass, longer than 3 or 4 yards. My goodness, I'm worried about that.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we know he can throw the ball. He can still throw the ball. He's had a few times where he's thrown it downfield a little, but I think you go back and look at that Raiders interception that he threw. You could almost say that the Raiders uniform blended right in with the logo in the center of the field, which worked perfectly for the Raiders' home field advantage.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, listen, before I let you go, man, we're approaching 300 conversations here on Coast View. It's been a heck of a ride. I'm amazed at how fast time has flown by.
Yeah.
But we've talked to some cool people, haven't we?
Yes, we have. It's been a good ride. Really enjoyed it.
Okay, so let me remind people, 103.1 SuperTalk Gulf Coast is part of 12 stations across the state. It's a network, and there's a visionary behind this company. And at the time when media is so fragmented in this state, 103.1 and the SuperTalk network gives you an opportunity to go to a place that is working overtime to find out what is important in the state, what is happening locally, in a way that, it could be your only news source, but it's really been masterfully put together, hasn't it, Kyle?
It has. Covers all 82 counties, and it is the most unique situation where, as far as I know, this is the only state that has a radio network that is nothing. It's dedicated completely to the state news and what's going on in this particular state, and you can get it anywhere in the state.
Yeah, they have statewide news organizations. Kyle, you're involved in the news effort down here. You guys put a lot of energy into making sure that the important news items that people need to know about are captured, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We actually, all of the news stations across the state, actually, we're really good at sharing information and helping other outlets to get information from here to up there, from the northern part of the state down here. It's a good sharing network. And it's pretty involved.
Yeah, you can listen on the radio. You can listen on your iPhone. You can go to SuperTalk through your browser. You can go to the app. You can watch this show on Facebook or YouTube or any of the podcast platforms. Gallo and JT show, and then of course our friend Steve Azar with In a Mississippi Minute. Just great programming. I mean, I came from the media business and the news business. This is the place to go.
That Steve Azar show is one of those that I find myself sitting in the driveway waiting until he goes to a break or something, because the storytelling is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's really awesome. And I was checking hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook and YouTube for this show. And I saw this quote. I quote my friend Stacy Waldrop all the time. She's a school nurse, cancer survivor, and a really close friend. But she said, remember, when you're in a position to help someone, be glad and do it. That's God answering someone else's prayer through you. We meet people like that every day on this show who are really working hard to help other people. It's pretty inspiring, isn't it?
It sure is. It is.
Well, the debate is tonight. And another quote that my friend Stacy posted is this: and it will be our love, not our anger, that heals the world. We live in such a divided country, and frankly, the debate's not going to help that at all, is it?
No, it's not. Tonight, we're going to have live coverage starting at 8:00 on SuperTalk, and it's going to be the extremes, left and right, are going to be the most vocal on social media. The way I kind of look at it is, if you take any of those advices and go one side or the other, you just turn into a pawn. So you really do your own research.
Yeah, but social media is making it worse. I'm not going to go into a long diatribe about it, but last week I gave my listeners a homework assignment. Watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and then also The Great Hack. These are two really important documentaries that talk about how Facebook and other social media companies are using our information. Our information now, our personal information, is more valuable than oil. It's $1 trillion industry, and you need to learn more about it. We're gonna be talking more about it next week. We're gonna dedicate an entire show to it. So, with that said, thank you for joining us, Kyle. And let's flip a switch and move over to my friend Bill Lavers and say good morning to Bill. Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. Man, we've been lucky with hurricanes, haven't we, man?
Yes, we have.
So,
Thankful,
go ahead.
Lucky.
Yeah, no doubt. I had, you may have seen it, but I had Mayor Robert Kraft and Tony Kennon, the mayors of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, on recently to talk about the impact in their communities of that storm that could have easily come here. And if it had come here, we'd still be picking up the pieces today. And man, we were lucky, weren't we?
We were. So I was in Gulf Shores during Deepwater Horizon and worked closely with both those mayors. And we recruited the BP Command Center to Gulf Shores from Mobile. So I worked really closely with those guys during that event. And so my wife, we live kind of close to the water south of the tracks in Long Beach. And we have the previous homeowner had all the plywood. My wife, every time the wind would blow, she was like, shouldn't you put the wood up? And it was a huge ordeal for me. I was like, no. So this year, I put it up. And I got Sharpie out and I wrote the names of the storms and I wrote 2020. So that's my little deflector. If I put the boards up and I went and got the sandbags, that's my preparation that hopefully it steers it in other directions. Not that we want bad things to happen to our neighbors east and west, but it's my little Lavers contribution to keeping it away from us, because nobody wants that. So
no, the Lavers deflector shield. I like that idea. That idea. Hey, we have another. Models are saying that another storm could be forming down in the Western Caribbean, and I looked at some models this morning. I think this cold front's going to help us, but man, it's way too soon to say that. Basically, people just need to pay attention, and hopefully we'll get cold fronts coming through here consistently and not have to worry about hurricane season anymore. But it's been a strange one, man. A couple of hurricane warnings for coastal Mississippi where storms either dissipated or went in different directions, and it's been crazy. It's been a crazy season. I know you guys probably have to do all kinds of stuff when you get into your hurricane preparation.
Yeah, because we run the utility in Long Beach and in our industrial parks, so we have to do some preparation. We actually had an emergency repair for a pipe that was we didn't want to end up in Bayou Bernard. One other thing that we do that a lot of people probably don't know is when the boats take safe harbor, they take safe harbor in the seaway. So Captain Scrimetti, I'll usually get a text from him saying, "Hey, we're going to the safe zone." So they have moorings that they lease from us and the Secretary of State so that they have a place to go in the storm. And Captain Scrimetti is a good neighbor and lets other people tie up and allows those boats to stay safe, because that's people's livelihood as well. So another little known fact of the Development Commission that we safe harbor.
Well, I had Louis Scrimetto on last week, and what an amazing contribution his family has made to the coast. Their concerns about the environment and conservation, their concerns about Ship Island, their contributions to tourism in coastal Mississippi. I actually said, I'm gonna lead an effort to change the name of Ship Island to Scrimmetta Island, because that family's made such a dramatic contribution to that island over so many years, over generations. It's just incredible. Yeah. Hey, let's do this. Let's go to the break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll just continue the conversation. This is Bill Lavers, who's the Executive Director for the Harrison County Development Commission, and we'll see you after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90, Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here. The show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to touch frequently touched surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, want to come work for the #1 radio group on the coast? TeleSouth Media has a great opportunity for an outside sales consultant. Get paid while having fun and work in the exciting, fast-paced world of radio. We have award-winning stations like 97.9 CPR Rocks, 105.9 The Monkey, G96.7, SuperTalk 103.1, and 103.5 The Possum. Take the first step towards a new and rewarding career. Submit your resume to Jesse at telesouth.com. That's JESSE at telesouth.com. TeleSouth Media is an equal employment opportunity employer.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. You know, it's always good to check in with our economic development people. And Bill Laver is the executive director of the Harrison County Development Commission, is a good friend of the show. But Bill, let's take a step back for a second before we get into some of the projects you guys are working on. Our forefathers here in coastal Mississippi were super smart when they had the vision some 60 years ago to create the Bob Bernard Industrial Park and dig that industrial canal. I mean, to look at it today, looking back on that was a really visionary decision, wasn't it?
It really was.
And
capitalizing on it today.
Yeah, Long Beach Industrial Park, the North Harrison Industrial Park in Socia. You guys you sell land, you lease land, you have, as you mentioned before we went to the break, water and sewer customers in Long Beach and Bob Bernard industrial parks. You got a lot going on these days, don't you?
We do. You want me to go into the structure for those that may not be aware? So
sure.
We have 12 commissioners, and each of the 5 mayors appoints a commissioner. Each board of supervisor representative appoints a commissioner, and then 2 are appointed by the governor. So I'll go through this list really fast. Frank Bordeaux, Sharon Bentz Mustard, Mike Leonard, Frankie Castiglia, who's the current board chair, Warren Conway, Jennifer Burke, Brian Galat, Wendy Sweatman, Rip Daniels, Mark Schlogel, Shorty Sneed, and Jimmy Levins make up my team of commissioners. And what I appreciate about every one of those individuals is they're all successful in their own right, and they all bring a unique perspective to the table every time we sit around it. So we do some crazy stuff, and most of the time they let me do what I'm presenting. They don't always fall in line like I want them to, but that's okay. Gandhi says no true progress can be made with a unanimous vote. So
well, I've said this before. I mean, it's really a dream team. They're also incredibly successful in their own right. So they bring each of them brings a perspective to the table that comes from years of experience and, successful businesses of their own. And, I mean, all those names, people who hear those names have to know that you guys, you really do. I mean, you wouldn't expect them to go along with everything. I mean, they're independent thinkers. They're smart people. Yeah. And that's what a board is for, is to debate and think about things and to, make decisions about, what they believe is in the best interest for Harrison County and the state of Mississippi going forward. And, you're lucky to have them. That's for sure.
Yeah, they, together, there's no telling how many hundreds of years of community service they've had at all different levels. So they, like I said, they have unique perspective, and I learn a lot. Hopefully they learn a lot too. So we work on a lot of things together, and we have some, we have some interesting discussions and things that we learn every time we have a a It's never.
So tell me about your team. How's your team doing? And
great.
Say it within the context of the pandemic and how all that's still working out for you guys.
We've not had anybody be on quarantine. We've had some close calls. Brandy had to be tested a couple of weeks ago. She has young kids, so she's got a little bit more exposure than some of the rest of us. But we've handled it with stride. We've got we social distance. We wear masks. We've gone to appointment only at the office, which really isn't that big a deal. We still are meeting with customers face to face. We've got a meeting tomorrow here at the office. We've had 3 different prospects come in the last couple of weeks. So people want to get back out, and they want to, like I told you before, when I was dealing with Tim McGee, I wanted to go out there and walk in the grass and get that deal done. I've got an updated picture. He's out there right now, pounding stakes in the ground. They've got the steel up on his building, and I've got a picture of that. I can push my technological envelope.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to that in a second. But look, here's the thing. We're still in the pandemic, and I think it's so easy to forget. I mean, I think people get tired. They want to sort of get away from having to talk about it. It's not going to go away for a while. So wearing masks and social distancing and all those things are still very much in play today. I had a friend of mine who came up with us to our hunting camp up in the Delta, and we did some planning and getting ready for the hunting season, just spending time together. But his son stopped at Southern Miss on the way up and went to a party with 30 people before he came there. And it wasn't until he was there for a little bit that he told us about it. And I said, whoa, that's not okay, man. I mean, let's remind ourselves what a pandemic is and how coronavirus spreads. And any family is only going to be as strong as its weakest link. And when you're in a public role like you guys are in, you have to really be on guard and aware of that every move you make, don't you?
Yeah, we really do. Neat story. We had a customer come in. We're doing Camp Bow Wow on Seaway Road, and he came in with his wife a week ago Friday. Hadn't seen him in a couple of months. And this is kind of, we chase the big shiny stuff and a lot of jobs. Anyway, they were opening Camp Bow Wow. They lived in Louisiana, and now they're moving to Mississippi. So his wife's going to run Camp Bow Wow, and he's gotten another job in Jackson County. Won't hold that against him, but they're selling what they've got in Louisiana, and they're moving to Mississippi, which is what we want. We want more good people to learn about Mississippi, see what it's all about. And their comments were what you hear from everybody else, from Milton, and, it's quality of life, it's affordability, it's the environment, it's the minus hurricane season. But it's all the things that we talk about all the time, and there they are live in our, they were coming to invest money, and now they're really coming, they're going all in. So that, you forget that a lot of times. We deal with a lot of people, we have a lot of moving pieces, but that, to me, that's just two jobs, those two individuals and whatever jobs they create in those businesses. But that's what this is all about. That's what makes it cool,
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill, this is so important, actually. The more data that comes out about the brain drain that continues to be a challenge for Mississippi, the more concerned you have to be, and the more aware you need to be of our leaders staying focused on sort of the strategic things they need to be focused on to create more of the kind of jobs that's going to make it so that our young people don't leave Mississippi to pursue their careers. I'm actually going to have a conversation in the near future with Mark Henderson and Ashley Edwards, and we're going to spend a whole show just talking about what is brain drain and what are the kinds of things that would stop it, and just job creation and being focused on the creative class and being sure that we're building the kind of places that won't those kind of young people who are looking for spouses, as someone said, but building the kind of communities that will attract them. Oftentimes these are young people who could live anywhere. So, yeah. Right over
my shoulder, it's reversed, but C-Force does just that. So it's cforcems.org. And so that's the internship program that we have for high school kids in Harrison County to put them in that job that they think they want to do, kind of test drive it. And we get a lot of positive feedback, both from the students and from the businesses, because the businesses get opened up to the talent that we have in the neighborhood that they didn't know we had. So the other thing that's happening because of the pandemic is we've got people that are like, there was a lady my wife met at the nail salon the other day from St. Charles. She's done in St. Charles because there's nothing left, and she had a second home here, so she's all in. And there's all kinds of people moving from cities that are facing the riots and the uncertainty and all these other things. They're picking Mississippi and coastal Mississippi as their home. So that's people from Georgia, North Carolina, Louisiana. They're all in it, and they're all age groups. I mean, that was a realtor told me the other day at a closing. She had 5 deals, and they were all coming from 5 different states because of our quality of life, because of our environment, because of our political environment, our tax structure. All these things combined, we're set up, and we're ready to, like we're ready to catch the big fish. We're ready.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, I haven't bat 1,000 in my family. My daughter does teach here. My daughter, Tori Williams, is a teacher at St. James, and my son, Jordan Matthews, is a lawyer here on the coast. But my son, Justin, unfortunately had to go to New York. He works for Price Waterhouse in New York. But
he'll come
that's
back.
not bad. I mean, a lot of families, multiple of their kids have had to move away to achieve their careers. And more opportunities are being made in coastal Mississippi and across this state. And with people like you and your team and your board staying focused on attracting the kind of businesses that will create opportunities for young people to be able to stay here. That's kind of what it's all about. This is Bill Lavers, who's the Executive Director for the Harrison County Development Commission. We'll be back right after this break, and we're going to talk specifically about some of the big announcements they've made recently and the kind of things that they're working on these days. So we'll be back after this break.
Be sure to go by this station's website and check out the half-off deals. Audubon Zoo tickets for just $15. That's half price. $30 zoo tickets for just $15. Again, go to this station's website or Facebook. Look for the half-off deals logo to purchase yours now.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and all this stuff was going on at the same time, / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
This is House Call for Health. There may be no greater medical mystery and no greater tragedy than sudden infant death syndrome. It used to be known as crib death. For no apparent reason, a presumably healthy sleeping baby dies. Medical experts don't have clear-cut answers to what causes sudden infant death, or SIDS, but now they have 2 risk factors: smoking and drinking during pregnancy beyond the first 3 months. A new study finds that babies whose mothers drank alcohol and smoked tobacco after the first trimester are at far greater risk of SIDS, 12 times greater. Previous studies showed a risk of smoking and drinking individually. This study says doing both drastically increases the danger. The research is sponsored by the National Institutes of Health, which is calling for greater publicity about the danger and improved screening at the very beginning of a pregnancy. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to touch frequently touched surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Whether you're a Rebel, a Bulldog, a Golden Eagle, or just a sports fan, SuperTalk Mississippi has got a podcast for you. For you. Sports Talk Mississippi, the Rebel Report, Thunder and Lightning, the SuperTalk Eagle Hour, and the Borky Show are all now available for you. And it's all free. Get them all on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for SuperTalk on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fm.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors. Here, the show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Bill Lavers with us. He's the executive director for the Harrison County Development Commission, and someone who's really got a good finger on the pulse of what's happening in the economic development world. And it's always good to check in with our economic development folks. I know that in the beginning, you and I talked like right after COVID started, and man, we were really concerned because in a lot of ways, coastal Mississippi was on a roll going into the pandemic. But then after we talked, I felt a little bit better about things because you said the phones were still ringing and activity was still kind of moving forward. And you guys have really not missed a lick. You've been steady, busy from the moment you heard about the pandemic through today, haven't you?
Yeah, it doesn't stop, which is great. And, I don't really want to bring up the election, but it doesn't seem like anybody's getting hindered by that either, or they're not using it as an excuse. So we've people still coming, still investing, still wanting to do business. So we're very thankful and appreciative that they're considering us, and a lot of what we do on our website, mscoast.org, under the news tab, we have the announcement for Gulf Ship, which was 200 new jobs. That's for, anybody that wants a job. And then Seaman Composites, about 2 weeks before that, they announced 35 new jobs because of a new contract they have with the Navy. Most of our businesses were deemed essential, and so they never really missed a beat. There's some supply chain issues getting product to them for what they produce, but really they kept going. I know that we were visiting with one vendor, and to your point about the hunting camp story, they had one guy that went and he worked in one building and he went and had lunch with a bunch of guys from the other building, and then he tested positive, and they had 42 people in their business that they had to put on quarantine because that one guy kind of cross-pollinated in the other building, which you want your employees to do. It wasn't, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just the sensitivity of the connection points and those kinds of things. So FL Crane is hopefully going to be in November. I went and took a picture just for you guys of their site on Friday. We've got a new site that we're clearing and grubbing on Seaway Road. We've already sold 2 lots, and my good friend Tim McGee is rumbling about buying a third. I sent you a picture of his building. The last time we talked, he was putting dirt on the ground. Now he's putting steel in the air. So you got to love guys that stay after it. And like Tim, we did our summary for the county because our year end is September 30th. So for this year, we had $11 million in investment in about 445 new and retained jobs. We had 7 new customers to Harrison County and 5 expansion projects. So and that includes the Gulf Ship and Seaman Composites. But we probably spend 50% of our time taking care of the people that are already here and 50% of the time chasing the shiny new stuff. So we have 2 new shiny things that I can't talk about, that one of them probably has a 10% chance of success, and the other, if I have anything to do with it, has a 100% chance of success. So those will be big things that I'm like a little kid on Christmas morning waiting to open my present, and we're putting all the tools in place to help those customers be successful. We talked in the past about we never missed a beat because we put technology procedures in place so we could work from home and we can serve our customers from anywhere. We'd already passed the ACT Work Ready communities and certification, so now all the coastal communities are aligned with that certification. In Bayou Bernard, we've sold almost 52 acres of land this year. We have an option on some land for a solar farm. We executed an agreement with Mississippi Export Rail, which the railroad was supposed to get back to me on Friday. So we'll see, Ricky, if you're good luck and they decide that today is the day to get back to me on my request. And we've invested over $500,000 in utility infrastructure. So we repainted our water tanks on Seaway. We redid a pump station. Oh, trust me, you don't want any pictures of that. Bad stuff. In Long Beach, we had 3 new sales. We sold 8 acres, and then we had a 5,800 feet expansion on our rail that we talked about the last time. So sure, we've got FL Crane underway. They hope to be in by November. We've got a solar farm contract up there as well. And then we've got a couple other people. Now that FL Crane is real and you can see the building, there are other people that are considering that as their environment as well. And then we wrote a lot of grants, and we've done the thing that I'm the most disappointed in this year that we really couldn't do anything about was C-Force basically got shelved. That's our internship program because we don't want to hurt the kids, and it's just they're trying to get back to school and figure out that we don't want to complicate it with a job and all those other things. So Brandy's actually starting to work back on that this week, and we hope to have about 15 to 20 students in that program. I like it to be 50, but she's saying 15. So we're starting to build that back up, and hopefully that will continue the way it's been. So, and one thing that we went through this year that was not fun. Audit is not a fun word. It should be a 4-letter word, probably. On a good year, I mean, we do it every year, so it's a normal thing, but a virtual audit is not fun. So Lori in my office finalized it today. She's very thankful to have all that behind you, because if you think about it, the auditors would come in, they'd have all your files, they'd put everything out on the table. Well, in a virtual audit, they're not here. So you have to create all that. You have to send it to them. They review it. They ask more questions. Then you have to go do it again. And then they ask more questions. You have to do it again and again. So it's like 4 times the amount of work for Lori, and on top of all the other things she's doing. So virtual audit is, we hope that's one thing that goes away. With all the good things that we've learned with COVID, we hope that virtual audits go away in the future, because it's, that was a...
Well, Bill, as you were, I want to thank you. You reminded me, one of the things that I like about not being a CEO anymore, being retired, doing this show, was audits. I forgot how rugged that was. But you know what? In my world, I think there were auditors inside the building basically just about all the time. One auditor, had technology auditors, had accounting auditors, had tax auditors, had, man, you name it. In the case of newspapers, we had ABC, Audit Bureau circulation auditors, and the list goes on and on. It seemed like that was always going on. But Wow, don't miss that. Oh man, it's fun doing this show because when I get off this show, I get to reflect on how cool it was to learn something new from my guests, as opposed to going to bed at night worried about revenue and expenses and all the things that go with that. Oh my goodness. I miss the people. I miss the people. I miss some of the challenges, but I don't miss audits.
Well, and it was, we normally it's about a 2 to 3 week process, and it's not that bad. This year it was a 4-month process.
Wow.
And finally, Lori was getting pretty frustrated, and I was like, "Look, do you want me to call them and say enough's enough?" And she's like, "No, not there yet." I'm like, "I'm ready whenever you are."
Well, good for you guys. Hey, listen, that kind of reminds me. Jimmy Levins is, a super talented guy. Having someone like him on your team is got to be really a benefit to you.
It is, unless you're talking about water and sewer, or cows, or grass, or when I would call him. He was a board chair before Frankie, my first 2 years here, and he was out cutting grass, and his wife would cut grass with him, and I would tell him, Jimmy, that doesn't count as a date. That's kind of like work, What do you mean it doesn't count as a date? So we got him a hat when he got off the being the chairman. I got him a John Deere colored hat, and it said "Time to go cut the grass." So
well, for people,
he's still very active. And
he breeds and raised cows in a big way. He's got a construction background. Comes from a talented family. I mean, God bless his sister Bernadette, who recently passed away. She was my accountant my entire life. I was best man in her wedding, and God bless her. She had a brain tumor, and just it was just a terrible situation. His brother Jerry is the chairman of the board for Hancock Whitney, and was involved in the accounting business his entire career. What a great guy he is! What a dynamic family. I mean, they've made so many contributions to coastal Mississippi. Long Beach, obviously, their base of operation was Long Beach, but their contributions are far and wide. You know that as well, don't you?
Yeah, I was at Jimmy's kind of my hurricane forecaster, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And that's when I was like, I think this time I'm going to worry about it, Jimmy. So,
you may not have had that one right. I don't know which one you were talking about, but so let's do this. When we come back, I want to talk about, what's your prognosis for the future? What do you see going forward? And are the phones still ringing? I got questions I want to ask about how we continue to move coastal Mississippi forward in positive ways. But we'll continue our conversation with Bill Lavers, who's the Executive Director of the Harrison County Development Commission, after this break.
SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.
SuperTalk. Nobody keeps Mississippi informed like we do. With 12 stations covering all 82 counties. If it happens in your state, we're on top of it. The news, the weather, the sports, and the talk that's important to you. The issues that matter to you, your family, and your bank account. It's all right here. And when you're away from home, depend on the SuperTalk app and supertalk.fm to stay in the know. We're proud to serve our fellow Mississippians. SuperTalk Mississippi.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because he was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Pot, come on, it's time for me to go be Elvis." And he stood up, and a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Everyone knows the only thing better than pizza is free pizza, and right now, buy a $10 gift certificate to CC's Pizza for only $5. It's like buying a pizza and getting a pizza for free. Go to our station's website or Facebook. Look for the Half Off Deals logo to purchase this amazing deal right now.
We give HPV vaccine to children at 11 or 12 years of age. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and I've given the vaccine to all of them.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90, Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Well, back to Coast View, we have Bill Lavers with us, who's the Executive Director for the Harrison County Development Commission, and it's great to just check in with him to see what's happening these days. Hey, by the way, FL Crane, what kind of crane company is that? Tell me more about them.
It's not a crane at all. So they make panels. So they did the skin for Island View, Beau Rivage. So they do panelized construction in a controlled environment. So they basically build a wall, the exterior wall of a building, shrink wrap it, put it on a truck, and then they ship it to Miami, Nashville, wherever that job is. So their customers are Hospital Corporation of America, a lot of the major hotel chains. They've got a contract with Chick-fil-A. So it was started by Mr. Crane, FL, in 1947 in Fulton, Mississippi. So they're just a family business. Just they're like a bigger version of Tim McGee. They just stay after it, and they've grown exponentially. Since we've been dealing with them, they've done an expansion in Texas and one in Tennessee just because of the volume. So the great thing about that company that's kind of neat is they're in construction, but all their guys get to go home every night and be with their families. So they're building the pieces that then go get reconstructed somewhere else, and they can skin a building in like 8 days instead of like an 8-week true construction process.
Wow, so that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know what that company did, and I assumed it was a crane company. So I'm glad I asked. FL Crane's actually the man who started the company. So what do you see going forward? What's your prognosis for the future?
We've got a brand new paved road, no state troopers in the area, and we've got a really fast car with a full tank of gas. So we're ready. We're working on some, like I said, I'm like a little kid on Christmas morning. with one of these deals. If we get the other one, it's going to be 2 Christmases at once. But we've, the big stuff and the little stuff, they all add up to making Mississippi better. And that's what we're here for. So we don't take anything for granted. We talk to every customer, like they're $1 billion customer. I don't care if you're buying a $50,000 lot or doing a $50 million project, you get the same level of attention.
Hey, Bill, you mentioned one of the projects that you're working on, maybe a 10% chance. The other, you said maybe 100% chance if you're involved in it. You always have interesting names for your projects. What's the name of those projects?
I haven't named the 10% one, but the other one is Project Castor, Castor. And when we get that around, you'll figure out what it is. But I got to say this. We had a guy that was over in Hancock County that we called the Emperor, and he's now gone to MDA, and that is a great thing. So Mr. Cork being in Jackson, understanding what's happening on the coast and having done big deals is a really, really great opportunity for us. And he and I work really well together, and I wouldn't have Castor if it wasn't for Mr. Cork. So
wow, that's great to hear. Yeah, we've had some good visits with Bill Cork as well. And
Bill, John Rounceville. I mean, there's a whole new team and a whole new attitude in Jackson. And I'm really excited about what the future holds. So we had John Rounceville come down for a tour a couple of weeks ago. We put him on a boat, took him up and down the Seaway, so he could see from the other side, what's happening on the Seaway. So really, really looking forward to that relationship, because we can only do so much on a local level. Our checkbook isn't as big as their checkbook, so we kind of have to work together to bring in these larger deals. But it takes, it's like they say, it takes a village. So having Bill up there is really going to be beneficial for and all I ask is just put me in. Let me see how I can do,
Well, as I mentioned, we've had some good visits with Bill when he was executive director of the Hancock County Port and Harbor Commission, and helping people understand that they like you have multiple things. They've got their rail service, they've got their port, they've got their responsibilities at Stennis International Airport. They're hitting on so many different cylinders over there, and to have sort of that perspective from the Hancock County point of view and bring that to MDA, and he's a very precise communicator and very focused on learning. He's just a really good economic development guy. It's going to be good for us. I agree with you. I'm excited about having him. And you got George Freeland over in Jackson County working. Man, we got a good team down here.
Yeah, and I was communicating with George last week about he set some legislation up that we're going to take advantage of for my Christmas present. So if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have this tool to help us lure this other opportunity. So we've got to work together, because somebody said it. Mississippi, it's not a state; it's a country club. So we're small, we're nimble, and you put us in, and we're gonna fight to win. So and I think the customers, at least the customers I've dealt with, appreciate that level of. We got on the call the other day with this customer, and they're like, "You know more about my customer than I do," and I was like, "That's what we do. That's how we work."
Hey, that's what you got to do. You got to do your homework, man. Yeah. I always say, if you really want to succeed, you have to burn the midnight oil. I don't care what that means. Your personal success as a business, you have to burn the midnight oil, which means you got to do your homework. Hey, Bill, we're out of time, but it's been great checking in with you. I really appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on your announcements and continued success. We'll be back to you in a month or two and just check in with you.
Like I said the last time, we'll have more announcements the next time we check in. So
okay, buddy. Take care. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.